Alright, you teenage mutated amphibious turtles, it's time to discuss Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows without worrying about spoilers. If you haven't watched the movie yet, you can click right here to watch my spoilers-free movie review, or click in the link in the description below to be free of spoilers and know my opinion of the movie. But right now, I hope you did indeed have the chance to watch the movie and you are looking forward to discuss in the comments below, and I am right here to give you all my spoilerific thoughts about the second movie in this franchise. So as I said in my spoilers-free movie review, I actually like the 2014 movie. It's a really okay at best movie, and this one just puts it up to the T. Still with very clear weaknesses, but a very fun movie and faithful to the Turtles. Now Leonardo, the leader of the Turtles, Peter Plozek, I think that's the way you pronounce his name, the guy just is Leonardo. The way his voice sounds, the way he acts, the way he moves around, because these are the actors moving around as they are shooting the movie in motion capture suits. So I really like the guy's performance, and as much as I will always be a defender of Johnny Knoxville's voice performance in the first movie, I think this one suits Leonardo that much better. I like his banter with Rafael in this movie. I like how he truly assumed the position of leader that we know from the animated show and from the comics. And his decision of keeping the secret about that weird ooze making them human from Rafael and Michelangelo, I think that's a decision we know that Leonardo would have taken. Leonardo would have hidden that fact because he knows the drama that himself and his three brothers go through every single day, hiding from the people of New York City, hiding from the world in beneath the shadows. And I think making them big in this franchise was actually a pretty good idea given at this drama they deal with, because being big, massive creatures just makes that more difficult for them to hide. And Rafael can, for instance, use his trench coat and his hat from the comics, and it's really hard for these guys to blend in with society. You have that scene in Halloween where they go out to the streets for the first time because you just see Michelangelo just wanting to be among the people and not be judged. And we are going to talk about Michelangelo and his deal with being judged by the people of the world in a few minutes. But I like the confrontation they do have in this movie, Leonardo and Rafael bittering at each other. They do not get along all the time, but Rafael still recognizes that Leo is the leader. And they go through this kind of drama that they doubt themselves as a team. They come to a moment in this movie while they're in the airplane that they cannot work together at all times. They are brothers, but sometimes their structure as a team will not be broken, but will be fragilized, if that's the way you say it. And I like how they dealt with that. Sure, it came at an abrupt point in this movie, and I thought that if they dealt with that from the beginning, it would have been that much better. But I like the way they dealt with it ever since they presented it. Speaking of the man, let's talk about Rafael, the big guy, the muscle of the team. I loved this guy. I loved him in the first movie, but I didn't quite enjoy when he was isolated from his brothers and had to save him all by himself. However, in this movie, Rafael is as much part of the team as the other brothers, and I really loved this guy in this movie. When he's feeling benched at the end of the Tortuga truck while they are chasing Shredder as he's trying to get away in the beginning of the movie, he jumps out and kicks all those Foot Clan members' ass. And he jumps into the motorcycle and he has fun while kicking ass, and that epitomizes the character of Rafael to me, and I love every moment he had kicking ass in this movie. The way he moves around, the way they jump around through the city, the way he acts towards his brothers and towards Casey Jones and April O'Neil, and then to Bebop and Rocksteady, kicking everyone's ass as much as he can. I love Rafael in this movie. I love that he has this little armor, and that's one of the few details every single turtle has in this movie. Rafael has a little armor on his arm, Leonardo has the sweatpants, Donatello has the glasses and all the tech in his shell, and Michelangelo is just a fun guy. And that's what I really like about individualizing these turtles, making each of them have a unique look. So now let's talk about the brains of the team, Donatello. I really enjoy the way they handled him in this movie. Most of the time, like 80% of this movie, he's on his computer, finding out what Shredder's plans are, finding out what Baxter Stockman's plans are, finding out who is Krang and what he's taking from Dimension X into this world. I really like Donatello, and I like seeing that he gives the gadgets to April to fulfill their missions, and he communicates communicates with her at all times, and he tells her how to work with sad gadgets. I really enjoy Donatello. I like that in this movie his bow staff isn't just some stick with some purple tape on it, and it's actually a metal bow that can give you shocks and stuff like that, and it's really inventive and brings the character into a bigger fulfillment. Also, Michelangelo, he's the guy who loves pizza, and he's the younger brother. I really liked seeing that individuality given to Michelangelo in this movie when he wants to go see the Knicks game, when he does mess up in the beginning while they're watching the Knicks game. I think that's the Knicks, I don't understand basketball. But then they're going through the sewer and he wants to go outside, and he has this gleam in his eyes while he's hanging out with the people during the Halloween parade, and then when they are captured by the police as they have to kneel down and surrender to the cops, and you just see this distraught and completely destroyed Michelangelo looking at the cops as they are scared looking at them. As he said later in the movie, they had fear, they had hate, they had anguish towards these turtles who were just trying to help, had done nothing towards these humans. His humor was also great in this movie. I loved seeing him as the guy who wanted to pick on Casey Jones being the new member of the team, let's say, and telling him to go against Splinter, that he's this weird rat that comes into their lair in the sewers, and that he's going to have to run full charge as Splinter, and Splinter just kicks the hell out of Casey Jones. I thought that was really funny. I loved his one-liners in this movie. Mikey just brought it to a T, 100%. I loved every single turtle, and their last action scene, you see in each of the steps they made in that fight scene the real character coming out. You saw Mikey being the one who's captured. You saw Raph being the one who's pissed off and telling nobody messes with my little brother Mikey. While Donatello is trying to stop the Technodrome from coming out of the portal and Leonardo is giving all the commands for the team, I really enjoyed that fight scene because it gives something to these characters for them to do, and it's not just visual noise in front of your screen. Is it a perfect fight scene? No, we'll talk about it in a little bit. But giving more character to the turtles, it did to me a perfect job. Let's talk about Megan Fox as April O'Neil. I liked her. There was not much for her in this movie because the good thing is that this movie did indeed focus on the turtles, but I liked seeing her investigating. She's proactive. She wants to go out there in the action. She does something in this movie like April O'Neil does. She investigates. She finds out stuff. Really bring the bad guys out into the public eye. I really missed seeing her do her actual job during the movie because I was always questioning, she's a journalist. She actually has a job, but she's not doing it, and she appears in the end of the movie doing an interview. It really kind of made me cringe because not doing your job throughout a whole of 90 minutes, that is the duration of this movie besides the last 10, I think it would have been less of an issue if she didn't show up doing her job at the end of the movie. It would have been more consistent with what was going on in this movie. The character of April O'Neil, I thought it was well portrayed. Megan Fox was believable in the character of April O'Neil. She was believable in the first one. The problem with the first one is that April O'Neil was the focus of that movie, and she should never be that, played by Megan Fox or another actress that is loved by everyone. Nothing should ever be focused on April O'Neil. She should complement the turtles and be a main character alongside them, but never take the focus out of them. Also, there was one weird part in the beginning of this movie when she's trying to hack into Baxter Stockman's device. She's trying to seem slutty to the other guy who's taking the iPad away, and then she takes a mini skirt out of a store in the subway station and she puts the skirt over her pants, but in the next shot, the pants are gone. I don't know if she's just that good and used to taking off her pants without taking off a skirt first, but it really bothers you in a cinematography stance. Let's talk about Stephen Amell as Casey Jones. Arrow being one of my favorite shows during the last 4 years, except this last season, it was really disappointing. But Stephen Amell has really grown as an actor, and I really want to see him exploding into the movie screen. And he was great in this movie. I really like the change in his origins. I wouldn't have had a problem if they were faithful. Casey Jones wanted to be a cop, a detective, hating bullies, and actually doing something as his job to fight that element of this world, of the city of New York. I thought it was really great for the character himself, and I thought the character was Casey Jones through and through. Besides just being a random vigilante or a random kid who wanted to fight people because it was cool, and he wanted to fight alongside the Turtles because it was cool, I liked the character. He didn't have that many moments with April O'Neil, but the moments they had, I thought they were cool. The characters and the actors complemented each other, and they gave way into something in future movies, if there are indeed future movies. But I thought their chemistry worked fine. He didn't gravitate towards Rafael, but they didn't have time for that, and I enjoyed that they moved along with the story, not wasting time with that. They have time for that in future movies, if there are future movies. But I like his relationship with the Turtles. He's really scared at first, and then he gravitates towards them. He finds out they are the saviors of the city, they are protectors, they don't mean any harm to the people of New York or to anyone else except for the criminals. And I like that he investigates the situation with April. He goes into the police station with her. He's captured with her. He has a few gripey lines, but that's the fault of the script, because as a performance, I thought he pulled them off really well. I had no problems with his performance. I just had problems with the way the character was used, because he was a new character. He needed more time to develop. He needed more time on screen, and as a new character, he needed to connect a little bit more with some of the Turtles. I know I'm contradicting myself, because I said I didn't want them to waste time having him gravitate towards Rafael and the other way around, but he needed that to become a full-fledged character in this movie, solidify himself in this franchise. Let's talk about Bebop and Rocksteady. Sheamus, one of my favorite WWE superstars, yes, I am a wrestling fan, and Gary Anthony Williams. I love these guys. They have such great chemistry, both as human and as mutants. I love their role in this. They epitomize the word henchmen in this movie. They want to work for Shredder. They are scared of Shredder. They do everything Shredder tells them to do. Their ass is kicked by the Turtles. They have their bitter rivalry with Casey Jones, who was the cop who was trying to imprison them. I like seeing that connection. As I said, Casey Jones should have gravitated towards the Turtles, and he gravitated towards Bebop and Rocksteady because he wanted to catch them. However, Bebop and Rocksteady were also two new characters, and they needed to gravitate towards the Turtles as well. They could have done something story-wise to make Bebop and Rocksteady hate the Turtles a little bit more, and not just hating the Turtles because the Turtles hate Shredder. But from the new characters, Bebop and Rocksteady, in my opinion, were the ones that were put into this movie full throttle and were fully realized. I really enjoy these characters. They are fun, they are corny, they are sappy, they are really, really cheesy, and they have their catchphrase, "My man," which they actually say in quite some bad times to say it, but I really enjoyed that they have their little thing going on. I just didn't like it when they tried to be funny with some few lines and the fart joke. I actually have nothing against fart jokes, but at that time it just didn't fit. And when these characters were bumbling around or falling on their asses, that's when they were funny. Or when they were being made fools out of by the Turtles or someone else, that's when they were funny. And they were Bebop and Rocksteady. When they tried to be funny by saying something or doing something that clearly was put in the script, like, oh yes, do this because it will be funny for kids, that's when it kind of made me cringe. Alright, time to talk about the leader of the villains, Shredder. And he absolutely does nothing in this movie. He gets out of prison, he meets Krang, and non-Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans will have to guess what that's all about. He goes to Baxter Stockman, he tells Baxter Stockman to turn Bebop and Rocksteady into mutants, he turns them, himself, into mutants, he tells them to go after the device that is in Brazil, and he's captured by Krang. Shredder doesn't deserve that. You put Shredder in a movie, you better give him a goddamn fight scene. As Baxter Stockman says, he's Sensei Shredder, and you hired Brian T, one of the best martial artist actors in the world. You hired this guy to play this character of the Shredder, and you don't put him in a fight scene? That is wrong in every human way. Shredder was made a fool out of by Krang in this movie. He was his pawn. And when Shredder and Krang interact in the comics or in the animated show, Shredder always has the upper hand. He's never made a fool out of by the Krang. At best, they are at equal levels of turning on each other, and neither gets the upper hand, but if one does, it's not Krang. I really was kind of pissed at the way they treated Shredder in this movie, because he was ridiculed, basically. I didn't enjoy that as well, and that goes for Karai too. They also recast her, and she has basically one line, and the things she does for the rest of the movie is looking at screen. Besides Bebop and Rocksteady, and in some way Krang, the only bad guys that get good use and are faithful to their comic book and animated show counterparts are the foot soldiers. They are actual ninjas, and they look badass. As much as they get their asses kicked by the turtles, as they should, but they are badasses. They chase down April O'Neil, they fight Casey Jones, they actually put up a fight against them. They actually look menacing in their all-black costumes. I like the foot soldiers in this movie, but Shredder and Karai were made fools out of, period. Let's talk about Krang. I liked him. I really liked him in this movie. But the thing is, Krang shows up out of nowhere because Shredder suddenly goes into a portal, and if you aren't a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, you won't know what this is all about. And when he comes down with the Technodrome, who's assembling piece by piece in the sky, looking like a Tetris game, you will actually question yourself, wait, what is this? And you will look to the side where there is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan right next to you, and he's all like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and you won't understand a thing because they do not explain it to you. They say, this is the Krang, he's this weird octopusy looking brain thing that goes into a robot's belly or stomach, and you have to accept it. And Krang had all this arsenal around him, and it was really great to see it, and you actually see the eye of the Technodrome. For Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans, that was heaven, and that was really fun to see in this movie. But for people who are not fans of the original material, just makes them go, oh, I guess. That's my biggest gripe with this movie. It suffered from that weird syndrome that is, I want to be faithful as much as I can to the source material, and that actually in some ways hurts the movie. And that's why I really appreciated the change they made to Casey Jones. I actually appreciated the change they made to the Turtles because they take something out of that change, and the times that they are faithful to the comic books and the animated show, they actually hurt themselves. And the story-wise, that's what really hurts the whole movie in general. They focused on the Turtles as much as they could, but the new characters coming in and the old characters they are returning are just made plot points out of, and the action is all given to the Turtles. Casey Jones's action scene is all seen in the trailer because that's the only one he has. Splinter doesn't get an action scene just like Shredder. And Krang, he shows up at the beginning telling Shredder what to do, and he shows up at the end and the Turtles beat him. And he goes away telling them he's coming back, and he still has Shredder frozen in his ship. The action, besides having the Turtles, could have been done along with the other characters. I liked seeing Casey Jones fighting against Bebop and Rocksteady, but that was too damn quick. And I understand that Casey Jones alone wouldn't have stood a chance against Bebop and Rocksteady. That's normal. And for the most part, he didn't until he found that real big can in which to put him in. The Turtles sometimes overshadowed the other characters and did not give them time, but add 10 other minutes to this movie and you could have had a 5-minute fight scene with Shredder, a 1-minute fight scene with Splinter, and not even a fight scene. Splinter has one moment, one big moment with Leonardo in which he seems to be a spoiled brat saying, oh, Rafael doesn't want to listen to me. And Rafael is like, oh, Leonardo wants to be the leader and wants to keep secrets from us. Those moments really seemed like Leonardo and Rafael were two big babies complaining to their dads. And the thing is that when they were confronting each other, that's when the characters came out to life on screen and you were witnessing these brothers fight, dealing with real drama. When they go to complain to Splinter and Splinter comes in, even though he has not been seen in the movie all along, it really hurts the characters and the character of Splinter because suddenly he's there for whatever you want him to do. And mostly he's in the background, just like Casey Jones and Shredder and Karai. But let's talk about another villain who I really enjoyed in this movie. And that is Baxter Stockman, played by Tyler Perry. This guy was so awesome. I really enjoyed him. He had this charm to him. It was really funny to see him not being the typical mad scientist. He wanted to expand his knowledge on science, and he was this real nerdy guy who was excited about finding out new stuff. This device that can teleport, and he was all like, I want to find out what this does. It's gonna be a goodie. And it was really funny to see that. When he turns Bebop and Rocksteady into mutants, he was really excited, and he came out into the spiel about all humans share a genome with their animal origin. And I thought that script-wise that came in a little too abruptly and was never addressed after that. But Baxter Stockman himself, it was really so fun to see him. And when he's taken away by Shredder into Japan, I think I really want to see him back in another movie, wanting to take revenge on Shredder. Maybe he himself brings Krang back to this world so he can have his revenge on Shredder. This movie, as I said, takes a few bumps, not focusing enough on new characters, having a little bumps on the road story-wise, because the character moments are wasted sometimes. The ending battle is again them versus a big gigantic robot, and it was well done on both movies, but still, Turtles versus a big gigantic robot up in the sky is a little too repetitive. I think the other characters need more time in the next movie, if there is one, and I hope there is, to become fully realized characters, as well as they did the Turtles in this movie. The Turtles in this movie are absolutely 100% perfect, but you don't need to waste other characters, other important characters, to give focus to the Turtles. Don't waste Shredder like you did in this movie. Don't waste Splinter like you did in this movie. Give Casey Jones a mission with the Turtles. You could have had Casey Jones wanting to go with them to that ending platform in the sky, wanting to fight them, but the Turtles would have told him, stay here, you need to help people on the ground. And he would have done that. And that would have made us embrace these characters and their relationships even more. And also, for a movie called Out of the Shadows, the Turtles really do decide to keep themselves in the shadows. I don't know what the purpose was for that title, but the title Half Shell was not better either. But right now, I want you guys to tell me what you thought of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Did you like this movie? Did you not? Did you like it more than the 2014 movie? Did you not? Also, you're still in time to hashtag in the comments below TMNTQA and ask me your questions for the Q&A that I will upload on Sunday and give away a surprise Funko Pop. Of course, you guys can go to the description below and check out the Modern Gaffa right here. It's your #1 source for everything Saturday morning. And there are also links for my Facebook and my Instagram, and you can stalk me on the internet right there. And of course, I'll leave a link to my previous video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and go watch my spoilers-free Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows review if you haven't yet. Here is a link for that as well as in the description below. Tomorrow I'll upload my review for the Angry Birds movie, and after that the Q&A for TMNT. Of course, I'll see you guys in all those reviews. Cheers.